last month. Anybody? How many people are new? They have not been here before. Yay! Right. Good new people. We like that. Here's the deal. I'll just go through the beginning. 3 things. All the stories, same 3 things. They have to be true. They have to be under 10 minutes, 10 minutes or less. And the third thing is no notes. They're not memorized. So they have to be kind of conversational. So we need a timer so that someone, Nancy, how about you? You'll totally be on it. Here's the clue that when someone's talking, you got to have a clock or iPod or phone, whatever. At 8 minutes, you give them a flash like this. You see that? It's not that annoying. And then at 10 minutes, you just keep drumming it in. Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. 10 minutes goes fast. It really does. It's amazing. It's really fast. So the theme tonight is out on a limb. So would you define out on a limb?
Taking a risk.
Taking a risk. Example? Like building a deck is out on a risk. Seriously. I mean, it doesn't have to be saving, children from dying. It can be something kind of simple. What else? Out on a risk. Taking a chance.
Changing careers.
Changing careers. Good. Something different. Something new. Going to a casino.
Coming to real stories.
I like when you raise your hand, Nancy. That was very good. Raise your hand before you talk. Yeah, that's a risk.
Talking at real stories.
Talking at real stories. Yeah. So we are friendly people. We are easygoing. What we invite you to do is to put your name in the hat to come up and tell a story. Did everybody get that yellow piece of paper? There is one. Yeah, Nancy, you got it. And in there it talks about we're going to take an intermission. We do, I think, 3 stories. We take an intermission, and that's when we come around with a hat. You put your name in the hat. Ready over here, we'll try to stuff the ballot. She always does. And we're on to her, though. We're on to her. We only give her, colored cards now, so we know. And then we draw your name, or we can just say, if there's not a few people, we'll have you come up. Because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories. That's what makes it really interesting and fun. Any questions before we get going? Richard, you want to say anything? What?
I've been coming to Real Stories for over a year now. Year.
Yes. It's our 11th month.
And I have to say, behind the scenes, one of the most daring people I know, someone who really has gone out on a limb, has been Kay. You asked me to come here and talk, you knew what was coming. And it's really what you don't see is what she does to bring this all together every month. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts. People don't show up.
Friends don't show up.
Friends don't show up. Friends,
yeah. They're not friends anymore.
Be friends. You happen to plan it on the first night of the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
And you walk in and there's no one in the room. So going out on a limb to bring this together for everyone out of a labor of love, it's a real story. And so I invite you all to participate, be a part of it. It's a lot of fun. And go out on a limb, invite your friends to come and join in. And then answer the phone. So on that note...
We need our timer. Nancy, what do you do?
Timer.
See, every friend I have is named Nancy. Did you want to All right, you got your phone out. I know you're waiting. It's not going to be 10 and a half minutes with Nancy. It's so quiet when the music goes off, though, isn't it?
No, it's wonderful.
Okay.
Hear that.
I like Kay Rock.
Humble. So guess what? First story tonight is Kay telling the story.
Yes, this is the story. I just want to get it out. When we were talking about the themes and the story behind the story, don't stop there yet. I'll tell you that. Yes. I know. So out on the limb, and there was a story I was going to tell about being in Washington, D.C. with my daughter. And Rich said, no, you really need to tell the story about how this whole thing got started. Not that it's that interesting, but it needs to be told, and then we'll be done with it. So, yeah, so about 2 years ago, I started going into the city. Okay, you can hit it now. Hey. I started going into the city to a storytelling event, Porch Light Stories, and it's with Beth and Arlene in the city. Loved it. I went every month. I would drag family and friends to the city because all the speakers had something unique to say, and there was such diversity, and it was a look inside their heads, and I loved that sharing. So I said to Beth, why don't you come out to the East Bay, and that would save me a trip across the bridge. And she said, no, we're not going to do that, but why don't you? And I really wasn't expecting to do that. I really didn't want to do that. But she said, if you do it, we'll support you. We'll make sure that it happens. So I gave it a thought, and I was toward the end of a 6-month contract with a job, which was going downhill quickly. So this sounded like something positive. And I was downstairs at 1515, and a friend said, let's check out upstairs. We came up here, and he said, this is the perfect spot. We met with the owners. They were like, okay, we'll give you 6 months and see if it flies. If 6 months it flies, maybe we'll see about it. Fine. So 2 things. You need storytellers, and you need people to come listen. Decided on the theme, which was odd jobs, totally stolen from another one. And then I ran an ad in Craigslist for people to come tell stories. And I got about 6 people. So I met with them at the library, the Yorinda Library, in a little tutorial room, and listened to their stories. And 4 of the people were completely sane. Yeah, there were 2. I left the door open. Yeah, it was a little scary. So, but I was really excited about them, and 2 of them dropped off and decided they couldn't do it. But the one guy was going to do it, and he was a butt model. And I was very excited because I don't know that many butt models. Yes. And I was pretty excited, and he had the calendar to prove it, which was amazing. Yeah, because anybody could say, I'm a butt model, but you got to have proof. So, yeah. So that day, of course, I get an email from him, and his butt was busy. Yes. So he didn't come. But the show went on, and it went pretty good. Randy, you were there. You told the story. Yeah, lots of it. So it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Tried to do it again. They said, let's do it again next month. So the next month, we did the theme, looking for love in all the weird places. Everybody wanted that. Everybody said, oh, I've got some great stories. I know somebody's got internet stories, all of that. Nobody wanted to tell us. Everybody had them, but I couldn't get them to tell the story. So I am out there just dogging people all the time. I'm constantly trying to have conversations with people. I'm sure they think I'm trying to pick up on them, but I'm not. I'm really just trying to get their story. And the other thing I do at this point was realize I need to do some advertising. Now, I used to sell advertising. And there's 2 things I know about advertising. One, it's very expensive, and the second is it doesn't work. So I wasn't going to put any money in advertising. But I did make postcards. That's what I did. I had postcards, and that was my form of advertising. So I would spend hours in Walnut Creek putting these under windshields in cars in Walnut Creek. Parking lots, you name it, I am out there. I'm going into Pete's and Starbucks, and I asked them, I have these postcards for an event. Can I leave them here? And they always said no, so I would anyway, and then they would throw them out. So that was kind of the cycle, how things would go, and I just kept doing that, and it was getting exhausting. It really, to be a postcard hoe is not fun. So then we had the second show, and that was good, and then we had the third and the fourth. We did Vacation Nation, Kitchen Confidential, the animal one. What was the name of that one?
But I loved that one.
Yeah, that was the night of the World Series, and all that work, we had 5 people. But it was very fun, it was intimate, but it was, so exhausting. I mean, for all this postcard work, to get 5 people was killing me. So I really was burning out big time, and I thought, maybe I just need to let it go. Maybe it's run its course. I was really excited to bring something different to Walnut Creek, because this was kind of like a mission, rather than just parking and dinner, you could come, here's people, I mean, we had a transgender comic, a couple of ex-cons, a murderer, a cop, we've had restaurants, we've had all kinds of people. It's been really, really interesting. And a lot of the storytellers were like, sure, I'll tell my story, but I'm not coming to Walnut Creek to tell that story. So there's like this whole problem with Walnut Creek and image that, they're afraid of us out here in Burbs. So anyways, that was kind of like, God, I don't know if I can keep this up. I just can't. So I said, Lord, I need a sign. I need a sign right now to know if this is going to fly. So I was not too far from my house, and I stopped off at a restaurant whose name rhymes with Walnut Creek Yacht Club. And I sat there at the counter, and I had a little fish taco. And on my left, there was a gentleman that was sitting there. And so I'm thinking, like I always do, maybe he has a story. So I'm talking to him, and he's an engineer, and he's going on and on about engineering stuff, and I don't know, I wasn't really listening. And then I said, he said, what are you doing, or what do you have? And I said, well, I have a postcard right here. So I do my little postcard thing, and I said, I've got this live storytelling event. It's in Walnut Creek, once a month, 3 things, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, well, it's got to be funny. And I said, well, it doesn't really have to be funny. That's not one of the 3 requirements. It can be humorous, but oftentimes the stories have been really poignant. They've been very touching. I mean, we had the one about the guy talking about his dad dying, and they've been really, really, sensitive. And he goes, no, they got to be funny. Okay, now I'm thinking, how many shows you done, buddy? All right, you really know this whole thing, this whole storytelling thing. You've really tapped into it. You've researched. You've done all the work. You've been a postcard hoe. I don't think so. So I was flaming, and I turned to him, and I said, funny shit. So he left. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is not going to work. I'm just kind of being open. I turned to my right. In the meantime, 2 guys showed up, and they're just come off the golf course, and they're dressed very nicely. And they're talking, and they're drinking, and they're getting louder, and they're getting louder, and I get, of course, automatic mode. What am I thinking?
Maybe they have a story.
Maybe they got a story. That's right. So I'm talking to them, and they're getting louder, and they're drinking, and they're commercial real estate, and blah, 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 and it's going on. And then finally they say to me, what do you do? So I'm thinking maybe if they don't have a story, they'll come to the story. I do my pitch. I have this live real story thing, Walnut Creek, once a month, 3 things, blah, blah, blah. He breaks out laughing. He says, you're kidding me. People actually come to this? I said, sometimes they do. And he is like going like this to his buddy. Get a load of it. Did you hear what this woman said? She's got this like storytelling thing. And he's laughing, and he's going on and on. He says, do you wear straw hats? Do you wear bib overalls? Okay. So I'm like, okay, that's it. Just like that, someone comes right into our counter at the bar there, between me and him, and this guy says, are you Kay DeMartini with Real Stories? And I said, yeah. He goes, tell me more about it. I heard about it and I read about it in the paper. It's once a month, right? This is the most amazing thing. Nothing like this happens in Walnut Creek. I can't believe you are doing this. And then he says to me, do you have a postcard? I love that. I just hug that man. I just hugged him. Anyway, so that's the story of Real Stories. Honest to God.